Before we get started on today's episode, big ups to the members of the Patreon, and in particular, King Abel Resin, who pledged to the Patreon for 1 full year. Thank you so much for your contributions to the Patreon. Patreon.com/veterans minimum is where you can get access to the episodes early. You can catch next week's episode up today as you're listening to this one. Now with the off season, gives me a little bit more time to dedicate to the Patreon and give you guys some more incentives to go and check it out. You get access to the Discord. You get the betting picks, also all the picks that I make. And there's also a lot of other cool shit that's coming later down the line. And we do need to shout out Nick Chavez, Abel, Ben Kotzian, Christopher Velasquez, Derek Plates, Devin Rendon, Jordan Riley, Mike Wozniak, Nick Crummich, and Thomas Robinson. Thank you all for your contributions to the Patreon. Yes, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Veterans Minimum. I'm your host, Nick Deus. At Nick Deus10 is where you can find me. And as you can see, I got Slam the Bookie in the building, my guy Chris.
What's good?
What up, bro?
Hey, man. Thank you for having me, man. This is amazing. Coming here, looking at the whole setup, man. You're killing it.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. It's good to have you in town. It's the first time that we actually met in person. I feel like we've been Twitter friends for a couple of years now. And it's funny because we were talking before, we were sitting at the sports book before we started recording. How many people are you talking to on a daily basis that maybe you haven't met?
Bro,
Isn't it crazy?
There's still a ton of people that I haven't met. But, a lot of my good friends is through Twitter, which is crazy, man. The gambling community on Twitter is definitely evolving. And, yeah, we talked, almost a year ago? I think around this time, a little over a year ago.
Yeah,
we haven't met, but man, it's really good to actually catch up with you, man, and come out here and meet you.
Yeah, this is this your first time in Vegas for March Madness?
It's actually my second time.
Okay.
Yeah.
When was the first time?
Last year.
Okay, so back-to-back years.
Yeah, so every year we do like a cappers trip, and everyone on Twitter meets up, and then we go out, have a good time. This year, a lot of people couldn't make it, but I still came through. I had to keep it going,
Bro,
can't break the streak.
It's expensive, man. I was looking at some of the rooms because my buddy, shouts to Boss. Boss was here a couple weeks ago for the UFC pay-per-view. And I don't know why, but we were just talking about rooms. And because I put them up in the Encore. And I was looking at rooms. I'm like, yo, how expensive is it for March Madness? Because I always hear that March Madness, this first weekend in March for the tournament, is the most popular weekend in all of Las Vegas. It's bigger than the Super Bowl. I don't know about next year because next year the Super Bowl is actually going to be in Vegas. But this is the one
that's going to be crazy.
That's going to be wild. Yeah, I can't wait for that. But this one, I've always heard that March Madness, that first weekend is wild. Like so many people come out here. And dude, you're looking at the rooms, like even with a discount, you're paying like $900,
Yeah, it's up there, man.
$1,000 a night.
I can't even remember when I came. I think I came in like Wednesday. It was either Wednesday or Thursday. I was actually Thursday. So the first day of March Madness, I didn't even book a room. I ended up just like waiting till the last second. Usually you can find some great deals. But I get comp rooms every now and then. But I got a little discount. Not much though, but it was still pricey, especially for that Thursday and Friday. The first 2 big days of March Madness. And man, even walking on the strip, man, the vibe was crazy.
Bro, that's I got a list here of the things that I learned living in Vegas for the first time during March Madness. And for those of you that are listening that are actually from Vegas or have always wanted to come out here for March Madness, I think these are going to be pretty interesting tidbits. And these are just my experiences.
Yeah.
And I would love for you to chime in too.
Oh, for sure.
Takes a long ass time to put your bet in.
Oh, dude, I don't even think I got my bets in time. I stayed at the Venetian the first night. And dude, that sportsbook line is insane. And I couldn't use the kiosk. There was a line for that too. So you actually have to wake up maybe 2 hours or 3 hours ahead, or put your bets in like the day before to kind of get it in on time. You can't wake up and go down to the sports book with like 30 minutes before game time. Like for me, I don't know about you, I would like to put my bets in closer to game time, so I can just monitor the line movement.
Mm.
At least for basketball, that's how I cap. If players are out, you never know. Like this tournament,
Okay, that's a good point, and it kind of swung me a little bit because immediately I was thinking about football, and I've kind of started this theme on the show with my guy Kenny. Shouts to Kenny Bets Big on Instagram. We do a segment every Monday during the football season. And it kind of happened by accident where we called them Monday Winners.
yeah,
It was the first time I had him on. I was like, "Yo, you got any plays for the weekend?" And he gave out a play. I gave out a play. Both hit. Then the next week he comes back on the show again, and I'm like, "Yo, you got any plays for the weekend?" He gives out a play. I give out a play. They both hit again. And the third time we do it, now we're on a 6-0 run. We're not really paying attention to it much. And then someone on the Discord hits me up and he goes, "Yo, you guys are like 7-1 on these Monday winners." And we kind of started processing everything by saying, "Look, man, you don't need to wait until 9:45 Pacific time in the morning on Sunday to put your bet in. Sometimes those numbers have left, like the value has gone, line
exactly.
changes and all that." But you bring up a good point, and that's why I think every sport is so different because in the NBA, I don't like betting NBA regular season because it's super duper volatile, and guys will just it'll be 409, and they're like, "Oh, you know what? Embiid's out."
Exactly.
Or Kawhi sitting, Luka's not in, and you're like, "Damn, dude, I took this guy's over. I took an under on the power forward playing with Embiid, Tobias Harris, but now with Embiid out, his per 36 goes up, and it kind of throws off the rest of the numbers in your analytics." But with basketball, I think that's a good ass take, man, about waiting closer to tip off.
Yeah, I mean, it just varies with sports. I think for football, you kind of know who's going to play or not,
Right.
throughout the whole week. Because,
Yeah.
it's obviously Thursday, Sunday, Monday. And so for football, I tend to like put my bets in early because, again, like you want to get as much value as you can before the line changes. I mean, as far as basketball, like you just don't know who's going to be in or out, who's going to, especially the NBA, man. It's just so hard to bet, so I just wait till closer to game time. Usually like 30 minutes to an hour. So like I would have to go down to sport if it was around this time and I was betting like basketball, like you have to get down like 2 hours
Yeah, the tournament was crazy. The lines were out of control. I don't run into those issues because since I'm a native, I have all the apps. Super DGen, I got the apps on.
See, yeah, like
So
I'm not a local,
it
yeah. So like
yeah, it does save a lot of time, man. But in order for you to get the apps out here, it's different than any other state. I mean, from the states that I've been in, it's only been 2 states. But in New York, you don't need to physically go to any of the sports books. You just download the app and you're good. Where here, you have to physically go to every casino, have your ID. They set up the app there for you. You make your first initial deposit at the book, and then from there you could just deposit online. But then when you go to withdraw,
yeah.
you have to go to the casino to take it out, or you gotta withdraw it, and then it's like, bro, it's been a nightmare. I've been bitching and moaning about so many different casinos that just take forever to pay you out online.
So the thing is, yesterday I actually signed up for the the Caesars little sportsbook app at William Hill. And in my head, I'm like, so that means I can just like bet wherever and then come back and cash out in Vegas. But it's like they won't cash you out if you bet in another state. So like I asked somebody that and they told me that because he ended up betting in Illinois and he was thinking he'll come here and cash out. But they didn't let him cash out. So you would have to be in the
I
same.
think it's the state that you hit your
Yeah,
bet in.
exactly. Well, I didn't know that. So I was like, oh shit, okay, well.
Yeah, because dude, so in New York, you're not allowed to bet on awards really. Awards that you can like MVP, anything that's voted on in New York, you can't bet on. You have to go into Jersey. So like Super Bowl MVP, last year when I made a video at the time I was working with WinBet, I made a video and I said that Cooper Kupp was going to win MVP and he was like 6-1
Mhm.
for the Super Bowl. And I couldn't bet it in New York. I had to drive and actually drove into Jersey, location settings on, tracked me down. I'm in Jersey. Then you get you get the Jersey book.
Yeah.
And there you could do it because there's a loophole in the New York state legislation for sports betting that you can't bet on something that has a voted outcome. So like MVP, it's stat driven, but also fans could vote on who's going to win MVP. And there's like a media thing. Do you follow what I'm saying? Where oftentimes a lot of sports books, they actually want hard box score evidence in order for you to like make a prop or any kind of futures ticket.
Yeah. And you're you know, you bet a lot of props.
Love props.
Yeah. So how far is that drive to like Jersey? Whenever you look down.
Give or take, you could probably get into Jersey. Say a half hour is a fair assessment of the drive that you got to make. It's not too bad from the city. You go right through the tunnel and then you're in Jersey, or you go right over the George Washington Bridge and you're in Jersey. But not having the apps out here, dude, I saw a lot of people panicking, waiting to go put their bets in, and they were worried that it was not going to go on time. And that was one thing that you saw here. The lines are absolutely ridiculous. Another thing, I don't know about you, bro, but it felt like it was frat star central this weekend. Like a lot of fraternity bros, a lot of guys in like their polos and their golf hats and their golf bags going, like groups of 9 to 12 almost everywhere you looked.
Yeah.
And it was all these guys coming out rooting for Kansas and Duke and Kentucky and all these like
all those teams, just
those blue bloods
all
that
those
they
teams
call.
like lost too.
Yeah, all those teams lost. But you see a lot of like college reunions. At least for me, when I was just walking through the casino, whether it was this one, whether it was Cosmo, the MGM when I was there on Saturday, you just saw you rarely saw people by themselves. You just saw packs. It was like a minimum of 6. It was like so many people just treating this like a big weekend, which it is out here.
Bro, I mean, March Madness is like, it's pretty much a holiday, man. I mean, if you plan ahead of time, you kind of budget right, and you have a good group of people you're with, it's a fun ass time out here. And right now, it's like, this year I didn't have my boys, but it was still a good time. I got to meet you, met like other random people at the sports book. You're all like sweating together. The whole vibe,
dude. It's the coolest thing because you can go if you're just a sports fan and you just go to a sports book, bro. You'll find friends,
bro. Us guys, you literally just sit down and talk. Hey, what'd you bet on?
Yeah, what you got in this game, bro?
Yeah,
and then it's like, yo, I got the same thing. All right, and
I
then
do
all
that
of a sudden,
all the time. I'm like, yo, what do you have for this one? We're on the same pick. I'm like, my guy.
Yeah.
And we just like end up sweating together.
You go through the roller coaster together, bro. That's exactly how I got it.
That's how you build a friendship.
That's exactly it. Yeah, you sweating it out together, dude.
Exactly.
Another thing that I noticed, maybe not so much for you because you're actually visiting, but bro, my commute was like 30, 40 minutes longer. Like the amount of traffic coming into the strip was chaos this week. And even when I pull off by the Wynn, when I get off that exit,
it wasn't too bad today though. I mean,
today wasn't. Today was empty compared to what this whole weekend was. This whole weekend
whole outside was packed.
Yeah. It was out of control, man. And it's everything that you hear about Vegas during March Madness is true. It's super hectic, ton of people, and you just hear roars whenever the games are going on because there's so many different games going on, and depending on what the score is, obviously, but a big bucket, like, yo, how crazy was that Gonzaga game yesterday?
Dude, did you see that cover?
Yeah. Yo, bad beat or great cover?
Oh.
Depending on what side you're on, right?
Depending on what side. I think a lot of the people where I was at, I think everybody had TCU.
So for those that didn't catch it, Gonzaga was up 6, and there was 0.8 seconds left.
Yeah, man, that had to be the greatest cover of the year,
and
or I have ever seen.
And TCU was catching 4.5 points, and Gonzaga's up 6, and they're kind of just rolling the ball out to half court, and the dude just picks it up from TCU and hits a.
You want to know how hard that is? 0.7. Like you literally. As soon as you pick up the ball,
you got to shoot. Like it has to be one motion. It has to be
exactly.
Pick up
but the fact that he rolled it across all the way to half court and no one like really stopped him, he picked it up, half court shot right in. Everyone just went crazy. Dude.
Yo,
I honestly feel bad for Zag backers minus the 4.5.
Yo,
man.
Yeah, that hook is gonna get you, bro. But the craziest thing is I didn't bet on that game, and I just had it on because I was watching FDU versus FAU. And I actually bet that one. I bet FDU on the money line, and then I
did that too. At one point, I was like, "Dude, they're really gonna do it."
Yeah, they were up in the second half. But what I also did was they were catching 15.5,
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, that's a lot. So I doubled up on the spread. And I was like, you know what, man? I don't really like betting on college basketball, but I fell into the hype of it. And I'm like, as long as they cover, I was like, yo, 15.5 is a ton. So I did the money line and I took the points. So I broke even on that. But that game ends and then Gonzaga comes on. And I didn't know what the line was for that game. But dude, I just remember when I saw that play, I was like,
wait, did you bet on that game?
nah, I didn't bet on Gonzaga, but I had it on. I just had it on.
What would you take though? If you had it like
Nah, I'd be lying to you, dude. I
if
didn't
you had
really
to
have,
pick like Zags.
I
or
probably would have
TCU?
took Gonzaga for sure, just because like I know more about them. They're
Right.
more like a tradition. They've become a new traditional power, and
I thought it was gonna be like honestly that was a bad beat, but Zags should have covered easily.
So,
they were
yo,
missing free throws. Bro.
the thing that I did immediately was once I saw that shot, my jaw dropped, and then I grabbed my phone and I went on the ESPN app and I looked at what the line was, and then I saw and I was like, yo,
and everybody posted about it too. Man. That was
yo,
crazy.
that's an all timer, man. That was nuts. March Madness trends: 35 and 17 are the unders. So if you've just been taking unders
Yeah.
blindly, you'd be up double.
Honestly, think that's what people have been doing. Kind of not me though.
Yeah, you hit me up when I
was like, oh, really?
So
like
I
it's
sent-
been that hot? I've been taking overs. That's why.
I sent Slam.
No, yesterday was actually a good overs day. I hit like 2 overs because everybody was just slamming. You know, the books are gonna adjust.
Right.
You know, you got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays is always typically a sharper day, and that total was just moving down. If you got some value, so you got to take the over at some of the games. The first 2 games went over. I think the first 2 games went over, and then third game went under. I think the TCU game went over. I believe. Yeah, it did go over. Majority of the games went over yesterday, so it saved some of the books.
What'd you think of some of these upsets that we saw? We lost 2 1 seeds and we lost 2 2 seeds already.
Did you take FDU when they upset?
No.
You didn't? I do. I had it on my mind. I just didn't think they could do it against
Bro, that's
Purdue.
but that's only happened twice ever, dude. So I wouldn't feel too bad about that. But what's crazy is that video from the coach.
That is crazy.
When they got the bid, he's like, "Yo, the more I watch Purdue, the more I think that we could beat them."
Bro? He def had the script.
The script?
Yeah.
Nah, don't be that. You're way smarter than that to be talking about scripts. The amount of people during the Super Bowl, bro, that bet on the correct score being 34-31 Eagles was like it was the most wagered prop at one sports book out here was the correct score because someone leaked the script. It's like, oh my God, you guys are idiots.
It was actually close, but it was like
it was 38-35 was the final.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too far off, but still, like I'm never gonna.
Bro, I love saying this. I got this script.
Nah, you're way too smart for that, bro. You can't be doing that.
Nah, just like I love trolling, bro.
What else? Does the hype for March Madness leave from you after this first weekend?
Yeah, I'm over it, bro. Actually, first 2 days I lost on Drake. You saw me with Drake. You know, that was brutal. I don't know how they didn't cover. They were leading up 10, choked. I think last 5 minutes they only scored 1 point. Miami came back and covered. That was a little sad for me. And then the next day I had Auburn in a pretty big bet, plus 5.5, up 10 against Houston halftime. It's like, okay, you know, when they're up, you're like, oh, I'm chilling. I can breathe. I can chill. Then Auburn decides to like not play the second half. Houston comes back, covers the full game, wins by like 15 or something. I was like, oh my God. Like, this is not fun. March sadness, as you call it, right? But yesterday I had a good day, man. Yesterday was a bounce back day for me. So I was happy. I actually hit a parlay. That was nice. It was like plus 2,000 or something. You know, when you go to Vegas, you gotta like hit at least one parlay.
Yeah,
I don't normally play parlays, bro, because obviously you don't make money long term.
Everyone that takes sports betting seriously and people that do it for a living, they don't bet parlays. Yeah. It's always straight bets.
Exactly.
You take 1 or 2 sides and you just go from there. It's easier for you to build up a bankroll that way. Parlays are cool. They're fun. Like over the weekend in the UFC, every week I do a thing called the subathon parlay where I pick 3 fighters to win by sub. And I finally hit it over the weekend. It was like 16-1 odds, 3 fighters to win by submission. At the pay-per-view, the John Jones pay-per-view, I was telling you this while we were recording because you liked Grasso. You ended up betting on Grasso, which was wild because
Grasso plus 1,000. Let's go.
Grasso was the only underdog to win on that card, and it was the only underdog I wouldn't have bet
Yeah.
because I didn't think she had a chance. And then she ends up winning 4th round. I think she got a submission. But that night I did Shavkat, Valentina, and John Jones all to win by sub. That was the subathon, and it was like $50 to win 3,200. And Valentina ends up losing by submission. And my buddy Boss, who was at the car with me, was like, "Dude, you always love betting." So in UFC, it's called How Fight Will End.
Yep.
And over the weekend, this past weekend, I bet Jack Shore, that fight against Amir Khani. They're both submission guys. So instead of picking one or the other, I just bet fight to end by submission. And I ended up hitting that.
What was that?
It was like plus 160.
It's not bad. Anything plus money, I love.
So Valentina on that card was like plus 280, and Grasso was like plus 1,100 to win by submission. And my boy was like, "Bro, you probably could have gotten like 4-1." And I was like, "Oh my God."
If you took the other side, but like.
Nah, if I just would have taken the fight to end by submission.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had Valentina to win it by sub. But over the weekend, I hit a parlay. It was like 20-1 on the subathon. So if you guys are following me on social media, you'll see that's a free play. I always give that out. And then the rest of the picks you get on Patreon, cheap plug. But that was going back to the parlays, man. You got to expect like the parlays to they're fun, they're exciting, but it's not the most optimal.
Just do them for fun. Like, I wouldn't take them so seriously. Like, when you're in Vegas, like, you have to. Like one parlay a day. Don't go too crazy, but you have to hit a parlay before you leave Vegas. That's like the rule.
And you got to make one too. You always got to make a parlay.
Exactly.
It's fun. The payouts are massive. Like, dude, that's why a lot of people love some of those sports books that you could put like $5 and win 200,000 because you pick 10 teams to win a championship.
Some of the tickets I see, I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Like, how are you hitting this $5 to win 1 million?
But yo, there's some that are really, I don't want to say everything is obvious after the fact. But there was one dude, he turned $50 into like 700,000, and he picked all the. He ended up cashing out. It was the dude that had the France ticket on the World Cup.
Oh yeah, they were filming him like watching.
He was in Vegas for that, and he put the bet out in Jersey in FanDuel, and his bet started with the tournament last year with Kansas that won the NCAA tournament, and it went all the way through the World Cup, and the last leg of it was France. But when you're looking at the odds of that ticket, all his picks were like the first or second favorite. But it was 9 different outcomes.
Yeah.
It was like hockey, college basketball, NBA, World Cup, Champions League, Georgia to win the national championship. But that's the big appeal with a lot of these sports books. You want to put $10 to win $500,000.
You know how much money he put down? I can't remember.
It was like $25. He ended up cashing out before the final.
It's a good thing he did, though.
Yeah,
because France ended up losing.
Overtime, yeah, right? 250,000. That's a good cash out there, right?
That's a good cash out. He still made money.
If the money,
you can like,
if the money is life changing, I'm not someone that hedges, bro. But if the money is life altering, I'm gonna do it. If I put $20 to win 600,000, and they're giving me a cash out of $270,000, I'm gonna definitely cash out, and then I'll just throw like $50K on France.
Exactly.
At that point,
yeah.
Right?
Hey,
but
250 is solid,
bro. You could
invest,
down payment for a crib, or
you can invest.
Yeah, like that could change someone's life, dude. But if you're hedging out $10 tickets to win like $40, I kind of feel like you're a loser, bro.
Yeah, you just gotta keep it, man.
Yeah, I ended up I paid one of my friends one time. He wanted to cash out a $20 bet. I was like, bro, just let it ride. Ends up hitting. I was like, bro, if you lose, I'll just give you $20. I was like, it's $20. You have a chance to win 900. I was like, you're three of 5 legs down, like, and now you have 2 favorites. Like, why are you gonna cash it out? I never understood that.
Honestly, bro,
ride or die.
I was on my last leg yesterday. It was actually my last leg was Gonzaga money line, and when it comes down to the last leg, you kind of just like, you start stressing, you start overthinking, like, should I take the other side? Should I cash out? A whole bunch of different things is going through your brain. But at the end of the day, it's just like I put down $25, to win. So, but I ended up taking TCU like live or something, just
Hmm.
in case. It was like TCU +6. They actually hit. So I ended up like middling.
Middling.
Yeah,
Wow.
very cool.
That's dope. Middling is difficult, bro. You ever middled anything before that?
Yeah, I mean, if you get, you know, if a favorite is down and like you think they're gonna come back, like
That's a good one.
it's a good meal. Because I usually bet with points.
Have you ever middled from the beginning of the game?
No,
That happened to me one time,
I actually
bro.
don't like live betting too much. I just feel like when I have too many bets going on, like it just drives me nuts.
Live betting can be really, really good if it's very situational, right? So if in the NFL, I like live betting. If I have a 10-point favorite and they just go down, 14-0 in the first quarter,
Yeah.
I'll probably money line them as they're trailing because
In the NFL, like you said if a favorite's down,
yeah. So like in the NFL, one of my favorite things to target is if it's a big favorite coming into the game. Say they're a 9-point favorite, a 10-point favorite, and some weird shit happens, right? The other team gets the ball first, they score a touchdown, and then kick returner fumbles. They get the ball, and it's first and goal on the 2-yard line, right? And then they go down 14-0, and the favorite goes down 14-0, and there's 10 minutes left in the first quarter. Yo, the start of this game, they had them as a 10-point favorite. Now I can money line them at like plus
money.
150.
Yeah, you got it. I mean,
I almost take that by default every single time, and then
and it's value.
absolutely, that's what I'm saying.
And if that team is the Chiefs and they have Mahomes as quarterback and they're down 14, it's kind of like, why not?
Well, dude, we were talking at the sports book. What's the biggest bet you ever made? Because mine was collectively this past Super Bowl. I money lined the Chiefs 5 different times for a grand total. It was like close to like 1,500, and I was sweating. I was a mess at halftime, dude.
Bro, I think most is 10,000, I believe.
You put 10K on a game?
Yeah, I always bet big on championship games. I don't know why, but
Holy shit!
it was there was one year, I can't remember. I think it was like when Villanova won the championship. About like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, somewhere around there. But they hit a buzzer beater to
Oh,
win.
was it against UNC?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Remember
play.
that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like dribbled down and it was tied though. But it was like going to overtime. So I was like, please make it. And they ended up winning the game. I was going nuts, man. That was fun.
Bro, we were saying like, imagine having 100K on a game because, like, you see some of these tickets that go.
I wouldn't.
But also like 100K for that person that's putting that bet is like
Depending.
what like $500 would be for me. I would assume
Still a lot.
for you to put 100,
Still a lot of money though.
right? But for you to put
just like that.
$100,000 on a game, that means that you have millions in the bank, unless you're a fucking idiot, which could
Yeah.
also be the case.
Just
But
that
I
was
just
his
think,
whole life savings.
yeah, I think like I would never put. I only put big bets in when I'm up. Like I had a really good football season. I would never make
Yeah,
a
it's
bet
just
that
profit
kind.
for you at the
It
end
was
of the
just
day.
money that was in the accounts, and I had a really, really strong feel about Kansas City winning the Super Bowl. So at that point, that's the only reason why I did that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't gonna go if I didn't have money in my accounts, I wouldn't have gone up to the win, hypothetically speaking, and say, "Oh, here's $1,500." Like, no. I got lucky because I had money in my accounts, and I had built up the bankroll throughout the season.
Hey, you were sweating halftime though.
Oh, halftime, I was a mess. That's what I was saying. Like
We all
Mahomes
were.
is limping off, and but that was another situation where if I didn't have that much money going into the game, I probably would have live bet the Chiefs because I was looking at plus 320 at halftime, bro.
Wow.
I was looking
Plus 320?
I was staring it down. Yeah, one of the books out here. It's a local book out here. It's not one of the popular ones. It's like it's one of the casinos that all the Vegas locals go to. So if you ever stumble to that casino, Station Sports, it's at Red Rock or Green Valley Ranch. A lot of the people that you see over there are people that actually live in Vegas. Where like on the Strip, you see people like you who are visiting, right? Or all the people that you see from March Madness. So those are some of the times where I had the money in the account. I would never go over there and just be like, "Yo, here's 1,500." I can't. It'd be too stressful.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you're playing with like profit, which is nice.
Staying with the NFL, bro. It's wild to me that Aaron Rodgers still hasn't officially joined the New York Jets. And wouldn't it be so, bro? It would be so Jets if they end up not landing him, because the amount of people that are hyped. I mean, I even spent a segment last week talking about Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets. Tell me what you think about this. I feel like it's a mistake that he's 15-1 to win the Super Bowl. That the Jets are 15-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's not wild.
That is wild.
Shouldn't they be like 30, 35-1 to win the Super Bowl? But I think them being in New York, the two most popular sports books in the country are DraftKings and FanDuel. They're based out of the tri-state area, so they know they're going to get a shitload of money on the Jets and the Giants year in, year out anyway, and they put it at 15-1 to cover any liabilities down the road. But this is not – I wouldn't bet the Jets to win the Super Bowl because –
Man, you're a Giants fan.
Yeah, but no. But I'm talking about from a betting standpoint.
Okay.
Like, they shouldn't be a 15-1 Super Bowl favorite. Like, they're not. The AFC is so stacked, bro. They should be closer to like Denver and the Chargers and the Ravens in that 30-40-1 odds. That's what I'm saying. Like, the Jets have a really good team, but they're still like
the
a
missing
fringe
piece is the quarterback. I mean, they had a really good defense last year,
right?
but
They did.
if they can land Rodgers, bro, then
all signs point to it.
I thought he was. I wasn't aware. I thought he.
Well, yeah,
made the decision. I was like, oh, dang, he hasn't committed yet.
We were sitting at the book right before we started recording, and they showed Adam Schefter on ESPN, and he was talking about Aaron Rodgers. And I just turned to you and I said, bro, isn't it hilarious that it still hasn't been official? And you're like, wait, what do you mean? I was like, yo, it hasn't. He came out on the Pat McAfee show, and he said, my intentions are to play for the Jets. The Packers want to move on. They've told me they want to move on, and I agree with it. And then it still hasn't been final. And if you're the Jets, you kind of have no leverage now. Whatever Green Bay is asking you for, you're going to have to give that up to bring them in. Like, we don't know what the deal is, but they can hit you over the head now because there's no other place he wants to go. It's similar to, remember when Melo left the Nuggets to go to the Knicks? And he made it very clear. He's like, yo, any team that trades for me, because he was going to be a free agent in that summer, any team that trades for me, I'm going to New York. I'm only playing in New York. And then Denver was like, oh, you only going to play in New York? I bet. New York, we want everything. And they got all those players and those picks in that deal for Melo. It's the same thing now with Rodgers and the Jets, where the Jets have no other play. You've already started printing jerseys. People are betting on the Jets. All my Jets homies are super hyped. And it's like, bro, it hasn't been made official yet. My buddy Dominic, he's a huge Jets fan. When they were going on those playoff runs with Rex Ryan, he had the Jets logo like shaved into his head. Shout out to Dom. But he was like, bro, until I see him holding the jersey, which is like the New York Knicks thing. Like, anytime a New York Knicks player is rumored to come here, I always say, until they're holding the jersey, bro, I'm not buying into it. Because how many years LeBron was coming here, Donovan Mitchell's coming here, Giannis is coming, all these guys, and then no one ends up coming. It's like, yo, until I got that jersey that they're holding up with the number and the last name, that's when I'll buy into it. What do you think of Rodgers?
Man, I mean, it's obvious, man. He wants out. I mean, I don't think there's really – I think the Packers should just figure it out. And, like, I just don't think he should stay if he doesn't want to be there. There's really no point. And if he wants to be a Jet – I mean, that's literally their missing piece, bro. They have Rodgers. I think it's game over. I mean, they have a great shot.
Wow, breaking news just now: the Texans signed Dalton Schultz. It's a big loss for Dallas, bro.
Wow.
And I know they just got Brandon Cooks, which was something I really wanted to talk to you about. But yeah, this just came across now.
That was like Dak's best friend, like his go-to.
198 catches and 17 touchdowns over the last 3 seasons in Dallas. Yeah, a red zone go-to. Dak Prescott targeting Dalton Schultz in the red zone is a top 5 quarterback in the red zone.
Yeah.
So you're right. That is his guy. He's only 26, and
He probably got a max deal. All right, what was the deal?
1 year, $9 million. That's weird, bro.
That is weird.
That's not even a lot of money for him.
That is not
Because
a
he's
lot of
not.
money.
I think Dalton Schultz is. I think it's Kelsey, everybody else, and then you got like Waller, Mark Andrews.
He's not like down there like that.
No, I'm saying, and then the tier after, like Dalton Schultz is in that comp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like
I
he's
can
in
see
like
that.
he's like a third tier tight end, but that's only because Kelsey is head and shoulders above everyone else.
Damn, that is weird. I don't know why.
So now
Dallas-
you got no Zeke, which I agreed with. Talked about that last
Yep.
week. And now you got no Dalton Schultz, but you do bring in Brandon Cooks, who I feel as if Brandon Cooks, his career has kind of been a roller coaster because I thought he was overrated, and now he's become criminally underrated. Because if you look at who he's played with the last couple of years, I mean,
He played with like 4 different teams. I think he played with Drew Brees at one point.
So look, he got drafted by the Saints, got traded to the Pats, played for the Rams, traded to the Texans, and now is going to be a Cowboy. That's 5 teams he's going to be on since he got drafted in 2014. But
I would say he puts up numbers on all those teams.
he does, yeah. So
Puts up
he's
numbers.
had 6,000-yard seasons.
He produces, man. So,
And you're looking at the QBs that he's played with the last couple of years. In 2020 with Deshaun Watson, he had 81 catches for 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. In 2021, he played with Tyrod Taylor and Davis Mills. He had 90 catches for 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. And then last year, he played with Jeff Driscoll, Kyle Allen, and Davis Mills. He had 57 catches for 699 yards. And he's played 13 or more games in 8 of his last 9 seasons. He only played 10 games his rookie year. But is a guy who the last couple of years he's played 14, 15, 13 games. And one of them was because of a holdout. Like he was holding out before the deadline because the Texans wanted to
I was just about to say.
to sit him before the deadline. Yo, I think now you're looking at Dallas, dude. Their offense is in a weird spot, I think.
I think it's more like consistency, right?
But they are in the regular season, bro. Like Dallas's offense puts up numbers. That's why it was wild to me that they got rid of Kellen Moore. Because I didn't think like Kellen Moore was the problem in Dallas. I think it's the head coach. I think it's McCarthy. Kellen Moore has had them have a top 5 offense the last like 2-3 years that he's been there.
Yeah.
And I think the issue with them comes playoff time. I think like the moment gets too big for Dak and them, and even McCarthy too. And you see a lot of the blunders go down in the playoffs. But dude, I think in the regular season, they've led the NFL in points per game the last 2 years. And now you got Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and Brandon Cooks. You got Tony Pollard still there because they franchised him. I think they're going to want to extend him.
Extend Tony.
But now you lose Zeke and you lose Dalton Schultz. I think Dalton Schultz is a massive one, bro.
That's a massive loss, especially for Dak, man. That was his like go-to. I honestly think it's Dak. As a Cowboy fan,
Oh, you are a Cowboy fan.
I'm a Cowboy.
Oh,
fan.
so it's perfect. All right, so you think it's
Oh,
Dak.
yeah, I thought you knew that.
Nah, I didn't know. I didn't know that.
I thought, okay. Well, yeah, I am a Cowboy fan. You know, born in Dallas. Grew up a Cowboy fan, and you know, I know when to like bet them and when to fade them. It's weird.
Well, dude, hold on. I've always said this. If you could be rational about your team, I think you could make a lot of money on them.
Dude, I faded the Cowboys a lot this season. I made a good amount of money.
And I don't think that makes you a bad fan. I think
And
that makes you a smart fan.
I know you took Brady as in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
I actually had a lot of money on the Cowboys. I just like knew they would win this game, just
Mm.
that game. And I also was like a fan during the playoffs. After they beat the Bucks, I was like, oh, dang, like this is our year. You know, I had that love. This is our year. And then I was like, we're going to beat the 49ers. And I honestly think they could have beat the 49ers. Do you remember that Trayvon Diggs had that like interception, just like hit him right here? We needed that turnover, and he dropped it.
Yeah. And dude, even
I was like, bro.
and Kittle, what about the Kittle catch that he like tipped and deflected 4 different times? And the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
time I'm expecting a safety to come and just like
You know,
right in the ACL. Just the way he was He was like on one leg hopping for
Yeah,
like 20
bro.
yards, and he made that big play.
That was crazy. Wait, who'd you take for that game?
I took the Niners in that game, but I went really big on Tampa. I went really big on Tampa. I was coining it the first round bounce dance, and then Tampa ended up getting bounced in the first round. I fell for the trap, bro. You called me out on it. You're like, yo,
You
you
fell for the trap, right?
fell
The
for
whole Brady as a dog.
Brady as a dog. Yeah. But it was
Everybody
but
on that.
but it was also more so like anti-Cowboys.
Yeah.
Because last year, one of my best reads was Dallas at home against the Niners. It was all over the Niners. But then when I lost with Tampa, I won it back when the Niners ended up covering. But I think
You were sweating too that game.
yeah.
It came down to the very end.
It did come down to the end.
Honestly, if Dak didn't turn it over, like, hey, the Cowboys could have
So
been in it. The Cowboys could have been in it.
So you really think it's Dak?
I just don't think he can handle the pressure. Like he's a solid quarterback for the system. Kellen Moore's system, like he was, but he just couldn't handle like the pressure, the games we needed to win. And it's like, maybe he's just not that guy, bro. He's just not that guy. I mean, I can't remember how many turnovers he had. How many turnovers did he have at the 40 when they played the 49ers?
I'm not sure.
I think two.
I'd have to.
One was one a pick six actually.
I'm gonna look that up right now.
I was actually really mad that game too. Sad day for me.
But yo, Dak is. So I was out as we were again sitting at the sports book before, and I turned to you and I said, "Bro, you know what team we're gonna be on next year? The Saints."
Yeah, you did. That's
and the Saints, I think, is a team that we're gonna be pretty. I'm gonna be pretty confident in. He had 2 interceptions in that playoff game.
Is Andy Dalton the backup now?
I think Andy Dalton went somewhere else. I think Jameis is still there because they extended Jameis.
That's right.
Jameis got a contract
Forgot he
extension.
got injured.
But yo, the Saints, and the reason why I say that, and to tie it into the Cowboys, is Derek Carr is a top 4 quarterback in the NFC. So that alone is going to get him a playoff.
Who's above him?
Your boy is one.
Patrick Mahomes. Wait, who?
No, in the NFC.
Oh, NFC.
That's why I'm high on the Saints, bro, because to me, it's Jalen Hurts.
Who's my boy?
Dak.
It's not my boy.
Well, he plays for your team. That's what I mean by that. But the reason why I'm saying that I'm high on the Saints is because Derek Carr, the division is shit.
Mm-hmm.
He's the best quarterback in the division. I think they go 5-1 in that division. Their schedule is going to be a lot easier than it was last year. They have a lot of talent. And you're looking at the landscape of the NFC, bro, especially if Rodgers ends up leaving. Like, I'm saying this accounting for Rodgers leaving. Is Jalen Hurts, Kirk or Dak, whatever, you flip a coin, and then it's Derek Carr for me. Those are the top
Dak could be
quarterbacks
like
in the
top
NFC.
3.
I mean, he is. He definitely is. Like, there's no other quarterbacks.
I mean, what about the rookie from last year? Can't think of his name. 49ers.
Brock Purdy? Nah.
Not up there?
No.
He's pretty solid though.
Yeah, he's solid, but he was protected too. It sucks that he got hurt in that playoff game, bro, because we never know what could have been.
I mean, they were in the game, but defense just couldn't get any stops.
Yeah, but then when you have your running back and fullback throwing passes at that point,
that was pretty crazy.
How much more does your defense want to go out there and play? Like, you knew that game was going to be routed. I was big on Philly.
I mean, the defense can only hold up for so long, man.
Yeah.
I think they were hanging on till the end of the second quarter, and then it just gave it up.
Want to finish up with some UFC?
Yeah, man. What happened to the lock of the card?
There we go.
Casey O'Neal, what happened there, bro?
Yeah, look at him go. Comes on the show, and now his show.
This guy told me that was the lock.
Man, I shot so many videos about that, bro. I felt so good. Biggest bet I ever made in UFC.
What was it, actually?
I bet her on the money line. I laid juice. She was minus 182. I bet her finish prop. I bet her by decision. Everything gone. Thank God we hit the subathon because it lessened the blow. But man, what a misread, dude. But yo, like Maya's a grizzled vet. She looked great too. You got to give her flowers. And then Casey O'Neal was coming off a long ass injury, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Torn ACL. Not a quick recovery, but she did come back. She looked great in the videos and whatnot. I fell for the trap seeing highlight videos of which is always like everyone's best work, right? It's kind of like social media
Yeah.
where people only post the promising and the good, never the bad. So I fell for the trap there, but I thought that line was completely wrong. And then she ends up losing 30-27. So that was a massive, massive L. Rough take there. But then bounced back with the subathon, and then main event. Main event, I was on Usman too. I thought, and Edwards.
Dude, I didn't think Usman was gonna lose, man. I had him in a parlay because I was like, you just added like a random UFC fighter. I was like, oh, Usman, he's gonna win. And then I get a notification. It was like breaking news. Usman loses like by decision. I was like, what?
Yeah, yeah, and it was pretty comfortable for Edwards too. Yo, it was such a dope moment, bro, because he's from the UK.
You like that whole
The headshot,
Yeah, dude, that was pretty sick. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa.
that was cool. Yo, the whole crowd kept chanting "Headshot dead, headshot dead." Like even in the press conference, it was pretty fire.
Yeah.
But yo, for those that don't know about Leon Edwards, he's been a guy who's. It's funny because now he's the champ, right? And now guys are calling him out because they want a title shot. But when it was in reverse, and he was the guy coming up, and he was the guy that was on the crazy winning streak when he was calling for Mazola, when he was calling for Covington, when he was calling for these guys that were contenders, they were ducking him because they're like, "Yo, you're a nobody, bro. Like we don't care about you." But now he's a champ,
Yeah.
and now he even said he's like, "Yo, everyone was I was calling everyone out. They didn't want to fight, but now I'm the king, and now I gotta fight. Nah, man. Now I'm gonna call my shot.
Yeah.
I want to fight this guy, or I want to fight that guy." And Dana White came out and said it's gonna be Covington. And Leon Edwards is like, "Bro, this guy hasn't fought in a year. Like he's actively ducking fights. Like he doesn't want to fight. He's like, why does he get a title shot coming off a win over Mazola, who was on a 3-fight losing streak when he beat him?" So it's again, it turns into politics. Like Mazola Edwards would be dope because you got the 3-piece in the soda, like that catchphrase that Mazola came up with when he punked Leon backstage in his country.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it's a famous video backstage. Like Leon Edwards apparently was talking mad shit to Mazola, and Mazola saw him backstage, and he just goes, "Yo, come and say that
Who do
to
you
my
think
face."
will win?
Dude, Leon is really good, man. Leon is he's a complete.
His confidence level.
Yeah, and Teddy Atlas put out a pretty dope tweet saying that when a guy finally becomes a champion, guy or girl become a champion, that fighter gets like 20 to 30% better because it's like you get that belt. Dude, when I became a blue belt, that first time I went and rolled, I tapped out everyone that I rolled with.
Damn.
Tapped out a purple belt, a bunch of blue belts, a bunch of white belts, but it was that first practice because like, yeah, I put my shit on. I was like, damn, bro, let's go. Like, this is fire. Like, it was like a superpower. I couldn't explain it. And then, 2 days later, I go back to the gym and I got my ass whooped by that same purple belt. But it just felt like that one moment when I came back for the first time with the belt, I felt like untouchable, bro. It was crazy. And that kind of what happened with Leon. Leon looked amazing. And now what happens with Usman is going to be interesting because now Usman is going to be the hunter as opposed to being the hunted all this time. A lot of fun matchups.
He'll bounce back, though.
Yeah.
He'll bounce back.
Yeah, I think so. But it's tough, dude. He's getting up there in age, and he has like the worst knees ever. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But a lot of dope. I've been very happy with what the UFC's been doing the last couple of months. Like the cards that they're putting on, they're really going crazy with them. And it was another dope card over the weekend.
Yeah. I'm excited for the whole McGregor fight. I mean, everybody is, bro. I'm excited to see him come back.
Yeah.
We grew up watching McGregor. So, it'd be nice to see him come back in the ring and hopefully he wins.
Yeah. My take has been that we get one more Conor moment. Like one more time where people are going to be excited to see Conor, unless he wins. But I think this is going to be this next fight that he's going to have against Chandler, whenever that's going to be, because he still needs to go through the USADA testing. But whenever that moment is going to come, when Conor is back, we're going to have that one, like, make sure you're not doing anything on Saturday, bro. Conor is fighting. And unless he wins, then we'll get that moment again. But I think we do have that one more time.
What do you think the line would be at?
Right now, it's a pick'em.
A pick'em?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm very confident in saying that the books are going to need Chandler.
Since we're on like the fighting subject, do you keep up with boxing?
There's
one fight that's coming up.
Oh, Ryan and Tank? Yeah, so like I'm into boxing like that, where it's those kind of matchups.
Yeah.
But besides that, Wilder Fury was dope as hell. I was excited for that heavyweights.
Yep.
But it needs to be for me. It's very. I'm a casual boxing fan, and also, dude, like with boxing, the difference, at least for me, maybe because I am a casual and I'm such a hardcore MMA fan, dude. With UFC, I watch every fight from fight one to the main event. Where in boxing, like you'll see co-main events and they'll pan to the audience. There's no one in there.
Mhm.
And then come main event, there's 60,000 people at Allegiant or 80. I probably sold them short for sure, but it's like 80,000 people are at Allegiant.
Yeah.
But to me, like that's whack. Like why not go for the whole card? But when they don't, since you have promoters, that's what's dope about the UFC. It's one umbrella. Dana White is the head honcho there. He's the guy that they look at, and he's the one that makes the fights. So that's why we get even John Jones. We were watching the John Jones fight again at my crib before we head over here, when him and Stipe were like going back and forth in the octagon. And John Jones even said, he's like, the reason why the UFC is the best is because we give fans the fight that they want. It's not you're a promoter, I'm a promoter. That's the only thing. I'm gonna have someone interesting come on the show to talk some boxing in the coming weeks, and that's gonna be one of the topics because I'm always open minded to having people sway me, and maybe I'm being naive and ignorant, not knowing these guys on undercards, but I also know just from the perception of it when you're watching a boxing fight, co-main, like there's no one in there.
Yeah. I
Kinda
don't
tells you all
keep
you
up
need
with
to.
anyone that's below the main event. Yeah, I'm excited for that fight though, man. I hope. I mean, Ryan Garcia is just like a social media and he's good, but like I don't know if he can keep up with Tank. But we'll see.
That's what everyone tells me, bro.
He's fast, bro, but like I don't know. Everyone's gonna say
But
Tank.
he's big though too. Like he's taller than Tank,
Mhm.
and the speed. It's gonna be fun, man. It's power versus the speed.
Exactly.
So that's gonna be exciting to see. Hey, man, let's wrap up this show. This was fun. Like I mentioned
Let's go.
before, you could catch next week's episode on the Patreon right now. Check out the Patreon, patreon.com/veterans minimum. At Nick Day is 10 as you can find me. Veteransminimum.com as you can find all things VM. Check out the YouTube shorts, Instagram, Twitter. Hit us up. Tell us your thoughts on what you hear on the pod. And Slam, the floor is yours. Where can they find you if they want to contact you? And where are the platforms at?
Twitter is my main one. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. At Slam the Bookie. Give me a follow. I give out daily sports picks. And yeah, I cash winners daily. So give me a follow.
One of the few people in sports betting that I actually like his work. And that's also why we're friends too, and why I had you on the pod. So let's check out his stuff, and we'll catch you guys next time
Appreciate you, bro.
on VM.